Hey guys, it's Penelope in London. What I'm doing is I'm going to show you solar fire. I'm going to show you this chart, but I'm literally just showing my face and then I'm going to come off camera. We have, which is brilliant, Mercury has basically gone direct, station direct, and also Jupiter. So we're in a good flow. And I can see from this Aries new moon, the warrior in us, not the warrior, but the warrior is going to come out to the forefront. And I'm going to show you some of the aspects that are going on because it's pretty mind-blowing. And where we're heading in this space-time reality is really exciting in many ways. It's a lot of hardship, but there's some greatness about it. I'm really excited about this Aries new moon, no, sorry, full moon, full. I'm really excited about it. So let's, I'm going to come off camera and I'm going to show you the chart and what we've got going on at the moment. Okay, so let me see. I'm going to come off camera there. Okay, so what we have is that we have this full moon, and this is the full moon chart. I'm just going to get my marker so you can see what I'm up to. With the Mercury direct, you know, it's really, the timing of this is really beautiful with this full moon, and Jupiter also. So if I get my marker, then I'm going to guide you a little bit in case if you don't know what astrology is, but you can go here and get your own chart. You see here, birth natal chart, AstroSeek, brilliant site. And also I'm going to show you my own chart because I've got some aspects that I'd like to share with you so you understand what you're looking at for yourself. If you pull up your own chart with the rising sign, but you need your time of birth to know that. So you can see that we have a T-square going on here. So this is when we have a full moon. If you probably may know this if you're into astrology, the moon is opposite the sun. So the moon is opposite the sun. It's at 27 degrees. They're both at the same degrees. This is just a little bit out, but the sun, the moon, Mercury, you can see here, it's just gone direct. And Jupiter, we've got 3 planets that are still 4, 5. You can see here, Chiron. The node is always retrograde. Uranus, Neptune, and Chiron are to be going direct at some point, you know, at different times. Neptune is in December, and we've also got Uranus will be in, let's see here, Uranus will be in January, and Chiron, I can't remember the date on that actually. I haven't looked, I should recall, but we're sort of, I'm learning as everybody else. So what we have is that if you can see this T-square, it's called a T-square, it's tension, and Pluto is involved. And when Mercury went retrograde, it was actually 25 degrees. It was square with Pluto. So and in Scorpio. So there's a lot of uncovering that's been going on. And this Mercury is going to go direct again. And when it hits 24 degrees, again, it will be in a square with Pluto again. So we're going through a stage of uncovering and transformation, transforming with what's going on. And we're seeing this play out. You know, there are things that have been coming up and some truths are beginning to be spoken and seen by the collective. It's a really important time that we're in evolutionary. I know myself, I went through a lot of fear. I had COVID for about 5 weeks last year, and then I had fear because they were, you know, the different variants. And then I've been listening to different stuff to the general media. I've been listening to things that have really been enlightening to me. I've learned a lot about my body this year, not just my body, but the human body, how the immune system works and how things can help us. And also, you know, I've seen some great people that I've followed over the years lose their YouTube channels and stuff like that, which has been really disappointing for me. So it's difficult when we're shut down. And part of my childhood, and I'm going to, you know, share this with you, but part of my childhood was having to live in secrecy and being shut down throughout my own trauma. And so I've got a big aversion to being shut down. And if anybody's going to try and shut me down in my expression or thinking, then I'm going to think something's up. This is just my nature. I'm Scorpio rising. I'll show you on my chart, but you can see here we've got the T-square. And then I will basically go over to solar fire and start explaining this chart to you in detail. So if I go now and share my chart before I go to SolarFire, hang on a sec, we want to go here. All right, so if you go here, and I make sure I'm sharing my chart, because it's all part of the learning that we're doing, okay? So it's not just all about me, it's just showing you where my chart is at. So you can see for me, this is the full moon will happen for me in my 5th house. This chart is not exact at that time, but it's the chart of now. But as it goes through on the 20th, which it is coming up for UK, it's already the 20th, but this is going to be at 3:57 p.m. in the UK, and it will be in the morning for New York and earlier in the morning for California, as an example. So it depends where you are. If you're in Australia, it's going to be ahead of time. It's going to be later in the day because it's sort of, hours ahead. So, or even, to midnight in Australia, but it depends where you are in the world. And then you can see that I'm Scorpio rising here. So I investigate things, and this is part of my nature. And then I've got my Pluto and Uranian energy on my MC. So again, that's more investigating. My MC is 20, that's a 5-degree orb. And I love computers, and I love, I love being a bit shocking as well. I do. I enjoy uncovering stuff, and not intentionally shocking people, but just bringing things to light. And I feel like I've really been shut down through this whole period. So I'm looking forward to the end of it. There won't be the end of it going back to normal, clearly, but there's going to be an end to what's going on. It can be seen in the astrology, that's for sure. So we can't, we have to be transparent. If we're going to work together as human beings, there has to be transparency, and we have to be looking after each other. I saw in the UK today, I signed a petition earlier that the government want to put fluoride back into the water of the United Kingdom. I mean, I buy toothpaste without fluoride in it for a specific reason. I don't want fluoride in my body. So fluoride does all sorts of different things. And if we don't investigate these things, then we don't know. So what is in the water? What is in this? What is in that? I'm interested in those things. That's my nature. And, to be called anti-something just really is offensive to me. I'm anti-fluoride as an example. Yes, I am. Why? Because I don't like what it does to the body. So people can judge as they will, because this is what us human beings do, and we're very egocentric based, part of our emotional. And then depending on where we're at in our collective, and then the soul journey, the individual soul journey, we're going to be thinking a particular way. Everybody is different. Everybody's body is different. As we know, some people, for instance, can't eat nuts because they will have a reaction to it. I'm giving you examples here. So we are not all the same. That's an absolute truth. So we can see that I went off there. I think Mercury, I'm glad that Mercury's gone direct. So not off, I went off in a good way. So in my opinion, so we've got my moon is going to be full in my 5th house at 27 degrees, and the sun, this is groups for me. It's about groups, and it's about shared dreams, hopes, dreams, and it's to do with not just myself, the collective, but also me pushing a bit, being myself as well, and also having fun as well. Culmination, full moon. I'm going to enjoy this one, I do believe. So I'll tell you as an example. So then I would look at that moon and I would say, okay, where is that moon for me? So you want to look where the moon is and the sun is for you. So the moon is in my 5th house. And then I would say that I know that it's in conjunct, it will be in conjunct to my ascendant. So if it's here, it's going to be in an uncomfortable position with my ascendant, which I don't mind. I'm okay with an in conjunct, because as I've grown and I understand my feelings, because this is what we're looking at when we're looking at the chart. I've also got that Jupiter that's gone direct. It's actually went direct on my true Lilith, which is the resolution Lilith. There are 3 Liliths in the chart. There's asteroid, there's actually 4, but there's one I don't use. So asteroid Lilith, and then there's black moon Lilith, and then there's true Lilith. And true Lilith is the resolution. So this is our shadow. and what we're here to resolve. And which would be part of the work of Carl Gustav Jung, whom I love. So then the other thing that moon is doing is that it's quintile to my vertex. So you go that moon and we look where the quintile, so my vertex is up here. So it's in a quintile, which is a 72-degree angle. I've then got my moon is also semi-sextile to my Chiron. So my moon is semi-sextile to my Chiron, which is going to be 30 degrees. You see that it's 25, it'll be 27. And then it's also, and with actually, I think this, let me see, Saturn really as well, which is fine with me. And then the sun is sextile to my ascendant. So semi-sextile. So the sun again is semi-sextile. So all of these things, you know, mean something to us. And then my sun is in conjunct to my Saturn, and then the moon is semi-sextile to my Saturn as well. So sun, moon, semi-sextile. So this is, you know, this is a nice chart for me. I understand what it's doing for me. And this is what we're trying to figure out. It's not that the chart is doing anything to me or the planets, but it gives you an idea. So now what I'm going to do is move over to Solarfire and do a new share. And this is the fun bit. So I'm going to show you this chart moves. So you can see here that this is the full moon. And if we take the definition of an Aries full moon, you know, just let's, or not the full moon, but let's look at Aries. So the moon in Aries is the feeling of uncertainty, and it can make us want to solve our problems faster. You know, it's natural. It's like Aries wants to move really quick. It's not slow. It's very impulsive. The ruler is Mars, and it's where we need to try and slow down to decide what we want to do and go at a comfortable pace. We don't want to go nuts and start just doing everything from an impulsive perspective. And also, as we can get a sense of peace, you know, things may seem boring as well when we're, you know, with that energy, because we want to be quick and, you know, it's not quick enough. And so it's like, oh, I'm bored. So that can occur as well with a moon in Aries. And that's this is also if you're born with the moon in Aries, as an example, you can understand that energy more if you have moon in Aries. My moon is in Gemini. So, you know, for me, it's about communicating, and it's in my 7th house. So it's about bouncing off of others. So I need others. So you want to look at your moon because it's your emotions, it's your egocentric self too, what you feel. And we project that into the world, and then we experience the world. So here we can recover quickly from any trauma and regain strength when we need it, because we've got that Mars energy. Also, we want to be looking at if we feel frustrated, we want to make sure that we're not rushing around and be calm, which is an interesting one for these times, because there's a lot going on that's causing a lot of anger and rising. We've seen that going on because people have had enough of certain things taking place and not being able to have a voice as well. And also there can be a threat of, you know, force, like an enemy of sorts with that moon in Aries. And we want to pay attention also to the feeling of others, because if we just react, then we can get responses that we don't like as well. So the Aries keywords are can be to do with separation. It can be where we're a loner, because it's a pioneer as well. You know, I want to get on with it. I'm going to do it on my own. I've got my Venus in Aries, so that really talks, you know, says a lot about me with my matters of my heart, and my Venus is in Aries as well. So, but we're talking about the moon here, full moon. So we can have anger, we can have rage, we have desires, you know, because Mars is very impulsive too. It's what we desire. It's our desire nature. It's our identity. It's freedom. You know, it's the first sign of the zodiac. I want to be free and I want to be me. It's about our independence. It's our instinct as well. And initiation, it's our initiative. It's warrior. It's self-interest. And it can be also primal, and also special destiny. There can be some paranoia, the destroyer. There can be violence with this as well. You know, it's warlike, it's serious. With that Mars, it's to do with, you know, it is related, Aries is related to Mars. So the moon is here in Aries, and Mars is actually really in a type of opposition going on there as well. So that's interesting that you got them, you know, it's ruler opposition and to the sun, and we got the conjunction here. You see, this is very powerful. If we look at the sun, which will be going into Scorpio, I'm so excited about that. Not everybody would be. It's Scorpio in the few days, 3 days. It's a degree a day roughly, so a few days, and that sun will be in the sign of Scorpio. And it's in Libra currently. And it's about choices. It's about where we're social. It's objective awareness. It's about relationships. It can be denial, polarity, extremes, beauty. It can also be surface. It can also be shallow. It can be half truths. It can have no boundaries. You know, this is also where there can be codependency issues and also relatedness, relativity. It's the mask that we wear. Not the one we've been all told to wear for the last year and a half, but the one that we do wear with certain people. It's our social grace. It's to do with partnership. It's to do with intimacy. It can be damaged trust. It can also be about the needs of others. It's not just about ourselves, and it's our projection, and it's also about pleasing others as well. But we don't want to be fawning and overly codependent with others. I do a great workshop on that every Saturday for free for ladies on codependency. If you're interested, I'll put the link below in the comments box of my YouTube channel when I upload this. So the sun we know is in opposition to the moon when it's full. The sun is also conjunct Mars, you see here. And then I'll run through some of the aspects with you. The sun is square to Pluto. This is the big one for me. The sun is squaring Pluto here, okay? And also the sun is trine to Jupiter, which has just gone direct, which is very beautiful. Look at that. And you can see it's a trine there. It's been trine for a few days now. It's moving off. And the moon is opposition to Mars. The moon is sextile to Jupiter as well. So that moon is sextile here to Jupiter. And the moon is also square to Pluto. So this T-square to me speaks very loud and clear, because this is about transformation. This is in Pluto in Capricorn is to do with government. It's to do with our public image. It's to do with our work. It's to do with the face we show in the world. And this is to do, this is moving into, Pluto will be moving into the sign of Aquarius in 2024, but that Pluto, when it reaches 27 degrees I think I can't remember the date in February, but the USA are having your Pluto return, and this is a big deal. It's not a small thing. I have made another video on that, so if you look up Pluto return USA, you know, you want to check out the meaning of that or do some Google work on that. But clearly there will be other astrologers making videos on this, the understanding of this. We've also got when we have the Mercury, let's have a look. The Mercury is sextile to Venus. So Mercury to do with our needs, and Mercury is trine to Saturn. So there's some nice communication going on there with the Saturn. And I'll read some of these out. Mars trine Jupiter, that's another good one. And then the in conjunct to Neptune, you know, this is this Mars in conjunct to Neptune. Neptune is to do where things are dissolved. It's to do with also illusions. And there's an inconjunct, there's a very uncomfortable angle to Mars to Neptune. So that needs to be taken into account as well. Then we've got the node is trine to Saturn. You see the node here, this is trining Saturn. And Saturn also has gone direct a week ago, I believe, which is really lovely as well. I feel a bit of deja vu going on. That was earlier this year. It's gone back to 6 degrees. And I think, I can't recall, I'm sure it was around February, it was at 6 degrees. I can't recall the date, but it's fascinating. We may have a look on this actually and just see, because it feels like deja vu. It's like we're going back to something and then we're going over that thing because it was retrograde. And also with that Jupiter, like if I look back, today I dealt with something with the Jupiter on my chart. So the Jupiter, when it went retrograde, it was in Pisces and it went retrograde back to 22 which is literally on my true Lilith. And I understand what's going on there for me. I'm dealing with some deep stuff at the moment with tying up loose ends from my past, my history. But that Jupiter is also square on my chart. When it's down here, it's square to my DC and my AC. And Jupiter is to do with expansion. It's to do with truth. And I was dealing with that today very beautifully in my personal life on a matter. So Lilith is involved. The node is trine Saturn. Lilith is involved as well. Lilith, I love. But this Lilith here is, I think it might be true Lilith, because I can only bring up 2 of them. This is asteroid. Asteroid Lilith is currently conjunct Chiron. And what's fascinating here as well is that you see this, and this is Eris, the goddess of discord, and that moon is there. And we've got this T-square, which is in pulling in this Eris here. In fact, if I tell you, if I click on that, you can't see, I'll just maybe just have a little explanation here. The Eris in Aries, Eris takes 560 years to move around the chart, but it's an outer planetary thing. It's 560 years to complete one orbit around the sun. And, so most of us alive today, when, all we're seeing is that this, we're seeing that it's been in Eris mainly. And it's also in the sign of Aries, which it is, it's a natural born mischief, and it's almost an bemusement, although you may not be aware of the effect that you have on those around you particularly, or those close to you. You are probably charming, a lovely person, but you seem to leave a small trail of emotional debris wherever you go. This is not necessarily a negative trait. In fact, others can appreciate the way that you disrupt their lives. So it's very disruptive, adding a frisson of excitement. So it is exciting. You know what's really interesting about this time? It's been absolute chaos, but there's some excitement about what's going on as well. And so, it's a catalyst for things to change. And it's our voice within also. And it's, we can be positive and spread, as it says, spread some magic here, because we need magic on Earth. In fact, let's have a look how long this has been here. I know we're talking about the moon, but let's go back years. Yeah, so you watch this, Eris. Let's go back and see when it moved into the sign of Aries, just for fun. So we're going back. This is a slow transit, so I'm just going to give you an example, and you can see this moving. You see this sign here, it's moving backwards, but this will be fascinating for us. When did Eris, which is the goddess of discord, move into this sign? So let's see. There may be a meaning there for us looking at this. So it was at 0 degrees of Aries in 1924. 1924, look up here. It was at 29 degrees of Pisces. And then it went into Aries in 1925. So this is astrology. What we do then is we would look back and we would see, what was going on then, and then look at the aspects to that. So this is, a chart of 1925. I love solar fire. I just adore the work that can be done with this. All right, so we're back to now, 27 degrees, 27, 26. You see that? Okay, so let's do this. And, do look at your own chart. And if I am looking at this at the moment. I'm in a changing situation in my own life. So what I decided was the best way to go about this, if anybody wants to work with me or look at this, is, if you want to do it and offer a donation, for an hour of my time, then at least I'll be able to help you out. So the sun opposition the moon, is the full moon, and it's emotions and feelings of the moon are the opposite of the ego and the individuality. So the sun is the individual, and the The moon is our ego. So the ego is not all bad, but what I've noticed is that the more we step out of the ego, so what is the ego? The ego is that, it's almost like a sense of unconsciousness. This is how I've begun to see it the last week in myself. It's an unconscious sort of act of feeling, but we have this going on in other areas of the chart. We had it with Pluto, possibly past lives, if we believe in that. Then we would have birth, death, transformation, Saturn, where we've been restricted in the past or past lives, again, Jupiter, the excitement, the spirituality, the joy, the grandiosity, but also for better or for worse. And then Neptune, our dreams, the things we dream for or desire, and things that dissolve and cause us pain, and that, where we feel delusion or deluded by things. We all experience these things. This is a beautiful thing about astrology, that Chiron, the wounding of, of the heart, the being born into a family where there's trauma, or being born or being through trauma at school, or, in society, not being loved, and, just the collective ideas of belief systems that punish each other as well and hurt each other. And then we have Lilith, who didn't want to lay below Adam in the Garden of Eden, the story, and she threw it all off and said, I'm out of here. And how she had to heal that because she was rageful, and the discord with Eris, and then the moon, our egocentric self, and then Uranus, where the trauma and the shocks and the breaking free of limitations, the North Node, our path, where we're walking towards, Lilith again, and the shadow work. And then we have Mercury, which is our communication, or the lack of communication, and the writing and the songs and the music, and the way we describe it. Mars, our sex, our desire, our wanting. And then the sun, it's just beautiful. And Venus, our needs, our inner needs, what our core values is what I would say. So it's really beautiful. And then the sun conjunct Mars is, it's about fighters, explorers, and researchers. So we're doing this at the moment. There's a fight going on, whether we're not allowed to say anything, but people are standing up. People have had enough, I do believe. And then we have the sun trine Jupiter, also we can suffer from energy losses here. I've really been feeling that the last couple of weeks. Feel like, you might feel, it's like you just feel like with that sun conjunct Mars, like just feeling worn out in the body. It's very interesting when you look at the effects of on the body. Sun trine Jupiter. This is harmonious, it's confident and optimistic. So if you have this aspect, it's love, adventure. So I feel adventurous at the moment as well. It's interesting how my mind has shifted over the last weeks. I was going through a lot of fear because you kept hearing this variant, that variant, and numbers and things going up, and panicking. And so I've just calmed down beautifully. I think Mercury retrograde really helped me. So it's also about new experience as well, the sun. And then Mars also is clicking in there. So the sun square Pluto, big one. T-square, this is what we've got going on. And it's where we're, stubborn, decisive, but also being told, telling others what to do, trying to persuade others. Haha, who's trying to persuade us? And what are they trying to persuade us to do? This is a good one. And what are we trying to persuade people to do things? Why don't we step back and stop trying to control people's lives, everybody, and realize that everybody's body is different? So, it's profound change. It is birth, death, transformation, this going on here, definitely. And, there can be manipulation at a subconscious level with this going on here, which we're seeing, manipulation at a subconscious level. Very interesting. Manipulation and control. And we may be unaware of it. So we really have to be aware, to open the mind, open the eyes, open wide to what is taking place. We don't have to believe everything that, you know, even with astrology or whatever, we have to question things. You know, what is this? What does it mean to me? There's a triaxal moon to Venus. So there can be confusion around feelings and emotional needs. So Venus, this is a 45-degree angle to the moon, no, not triaxal, sorry. It's not 45 degrees, triaxal. I think it's 135. I can't remember the degree, actually, I should remember, but again, we're all learning. The moon opposing Mars at this time, we can really suffer from emotional tension and be ruthless and indecisive. And there can be conflicts, you know, and trying to win and being bossy. And again, we can see this going on collectively. And that moon square to Pluto, I was born with moon square Pluto. Pluto's on my MC, and then the moon is in my 7th house. This evokes deep feelings, this aspect, very can complicate relationships with our loved ones. And also this aspect has a profound effect on our personal lives and also experiences. And it, you know, it's an interest in psychology, occultism, and also alternative movements and new lifestyles. And it can be bad for relationships, and you know, and also with the body. And people can have trouble accepting the way they look or the way they appear to others. And I can definitely relate to that, having that aspect, because I went through severe abuse as a kid. So I'd always sort of feel that there was something, that other people were more perfect than me or better than me, or there was something wrong with me. I don't believe that anymore. And I worked that through. And that's the whole point. When you understand the aspects, you can begin to dig deeper, look at the shadow, and then begin to evolve the consensus belief systems that are very damaging to us. And this is the other thing that's taking place right now. So in a way, watching people having to walk away from their jobs, I think it's really liberating. It's really stressful, but it shows people strength and courage. It shows something very beautiful. It's changed. The core values are changing at a very deep level right now. And it's very beautiful to see that people are taking a stand in that simple way. So I could go on. Mars square Pluto, well, wow. This is, you know, Mars, and that's moving on in. It's a challenge because there will be stubborn and determined, and we can hurt each other's feelings, and there can be sharp judgments, and it can lead to big life changes. So it's where people believe in the absolute truth in their abilities. So, you know, we need belief right now. So individually, we need to believe what is right for me. You know, it's not all about other people. The soul is on its own journey. So Saturn square Uranus has been going on all year. This is applying now back to when it hits 13 degrees at the end of the year, we'll have an absolute square. This is fascinating because this is breaking free of limitations. This is applying. This is, you know, this is teacher, this is government, this is karma, and it's going on in. And this is us. We want to break free of limitations. And I do believe it's actually going to happen. Watch this space. It may not be very comfortable to watch or be part of, but we're going to a different level of living. I'm beginning to see it now. It's very exciting. And I think that's about it. Let me see if there's anything else. Mercury trine Saturn, that's harmony. Mars trine Jupiter. This gives us energy and activity, movement, tourism as well. You know, that's about that. And new information. We're also eager for new information. We are very eager for new information right now. Transparent information, truthful information, authentic information that serves the public. I think the very important thing is that if we all work together, if there are possibilities, and governments too, you know, giving people a say and really looking at things in a very refined, defined way. It has to happen now. You know, we can't just be throwing around numbers. And I know for myself, for particular reasons, what I've been looking at and studying, you know, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand simple things if we look at information. Maybe one day I'll do a workshop on it, what I knew, and it will all come to light. Okay. Happy full moon and culmination. Okay, catch you later. Any comments, leave them below. And if you want to do anything with me, as I said, I'm doing that voluntary thing. Catch you later. Thanks for watching.